So we usually have a room here Wednesday, Friday for Upanishad class, and Sunday for an open discussion, always at 8:30 p.m. IST. So I think it's great that we're back to having the classes again this week. We're very well into the Taittareeya Upanishad, as you can see, our 35th class. And so if anyone comes new, they should try to listen to the first several replays of this Upanishad and the most recent, or better yet, all of the ones from chapter 2. And those replays are here, along with the open discussion that used to be called Q&A replays. And there's also a YouTube channel, Advaita Retold, that has many other prior classes from here and also prior to Clubhouse. So those are available. And then, as was just clarified last time, for people like myself who have data limits and so forth, we can listen also if we want on Apple, on Spotify, and Amazon podcasts, but we'll need to simply put in Bindo's full name. And that's also, I think you've got that in your profile, don't you have your full name? Well, it's
Yes.
Arvind. Yeah, your full name is there. I'm just looking. Is it? Actually, it doesn't show your last name. Padiath, which is, you'd see if you went to the YouTube channel, you'd see the full name spelled out. Anyhow, we're all happy to be together, and we'll have the usual format of a class for about an hour where the hand raising and the chat will be off, and then we'll turn those back open and hope that people come up if they have questions and want to discuss things from the class today and get clarification from Bindo. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prakash. Happy to have you with us. Prakash, if you want to add anything, and then Bindo, just go ahead and we'll start the class.
Just a welcome to everyone, and I think Bindoji can start the class. Thank you.
Thank you, Atmisha. Thank you, Prakash. Welcome all. The latecomers, Karin, Revati, and Yash. Pranam to all of you. Just to keep the continuity of the discussion, we will just have a revision partly of what we did in the last class. Okay. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Veda Vipakine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Ata Shanti Mantram. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The eighth Anuvaka, or the eighth subsection on chapter 2 is like this. Brahmananda Mimamsa. Vishasmat Vatappavate Vishodedi Suryaha Vishasmat Agnischendrascha Mrityurdavati Panchamayiti Saishanandasya Mimamsa Bhavati Yuva Syat Yuva Dhyayakaha Ashishto Dridishto Balishtaha Tasyeyam Prithvi Sarva Vittasya Purna Syat Sa Ekaha Manushya Anandaha Te ye shatam manushya anandaha sa eko manushya gandharvana manandaha srotriyasya cha kamahasya te ye shatam manushya gandharvana manandaha sa ekaha deva gandharvana manandaha srotriyasya cha kamahasya te ye shatam deva gandharvana manandaha anandaha sa eka pidranam chiraloka lokana manandaha srotriyasya cha kamahasya te ye shatam pidrinam chiraloka lokanam anandaha sa eka ajanajanam devanam anandaha श्रोत्रियस्य च कामहतस्य ते ये शतम् आजानजानाम् देवानाम् आनन्दाः स एकः कर्मदेवानाम् आनन्दः से ये कर्मणा देवान् अपीयन्ति श्रोत्रियस्य च कामहतस्य ते ये शतम् कर्मदेवानाम् देवानाम् आनन्दः स एकः देवानाम् आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य च कामहतस्य ते ये शतम् देवानाम् आनन्दः स एक इन्द्रस्य आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य अचाकामहतस्य ते ये शतम् इन्द्रस्य आनन्दाः त एक बृहस्पतेरानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य च कामहतस्य ते ये शतम् बृहस्पतेरानन्दाः स एक प्रजापतेरानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य च कामहतस्य ते ये शतम् प्रजापतेरानन्दाः स एक ब्रह्मण आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य च कामहतस्य स यश्चायम् पुरुषे यश्चासावादित्ये स एकः स यमेवं वित् अस्मान् लोकान् प्रेत्य एतमन्नमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं प्राणमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं मनोमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं विज्ञानमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतम् आनन्दमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति तदप्येष श्लोको भवति इति अष्टमनुवाक. So here this is the what is called the Ananda Mimamsa. Ananda Mimamsa means investigation into the nature of Ananda. So we saw that in the previous class that all the activities in this world are being done for as if for the purpose of something else, which was said Bhishasmad Vadappavate. If that the air is breezing or wind is blowing because of somebody is instructing it or in the fear of somebody or obeying somebody. Same way, all the things are being in the sun, the moon, the fire, etc., etc. Basically, it is to show that there is a controller or there is something which is a prime mover or some sort of the designer to the nature, what we are experiencing as the world. Somebody is there behind it. It is not only that. The previous before that was where we found that even our physical body, whether it is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, all these 5 streets of existence which we go through, they are all functioning because there is some power within us which we call it as Atma, as the one with which they are all obeying the rules of the body. The air, the Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and even Anandamaya Kosha is functioning because of that. So we were told that all those things are being performed because everything is considering itself as separate from that controller. Andaram kurute, idaram antaram kurute, atatasya bhayam bhavati was the Upanishadic word. Even if an iota of separation is identified by the whatever may be the position held, whether it is the sun or the Indra or Brahma or Hiranyagarbha, whoever may be that, as long as that individuation or the identity as an individual is there, therefore it is under the fear of something else that it will perform its duties. Even though it is all powerful or with all the divine qualities, still the difference in the idea that I am separate from the controller. This fear is the reason behind which every function in the world is happening as per the Upanishad. Now, even though that Upanishad is telling that this is under the fear of something, the basic concept in the modern conditions or modern understanding we should do is that there are factors which are controlling the performance. No man is an island in himself is a famous statement. Same way, we are all not individuals anymore. We are working and functioning because we are as much part of a system. All the system in itself is churning out the requirement of every part of the system, which includes you and me. So this method in which the nature is controlling itself is now being poetically put by the Upanishad as the fear of something is the reason why we are all functioning. Now, if you look at it from a practical point of view also, where we have a second in our idea, that second one, which is not me, will definitely limit me or reduce me to that much by the existence of the other one. The only place where we do not feel the otherness and we do not feel the limitation, but at the same time we do not feel the vastness also, because vastness is a relative term. So a term which is used here is the infinity is Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. It is the smallest of the small and the largest of the largest. In both cases, that one which is there is not sharing itself with anything else. Now, this is the reason why when we have the otherness in our knowledge or imagination or ideation, we feel that we are limited. Limited by the body, because my body is limited, because I see everything else is other than my body. Same way, we feel everything limited because there is something which is other than me, which is limiting me. So, we do not know what is that state where there is no limitation or nothing other than myself. Even though we are experiencing it in our deep sleep, we have no knowledge about it, because we are only familiar with the knowledge through the mind. In fact, a question which was asked in the last discussion room was by Vivek on this very aspect. We cannot think about an area or imagine or even apprehend that where there is only myself or ourselves individually. Yet when we are going into our deep sleep or when we are experiencing our deep sleep, we are in that state. Being in that state where there is nothing other than that, there is no experience of it known at that time. But there is a recollection when we wake up of absence of every experience. Now, absence of every experience is not the fullness of experience, which the waker cannot experience or understand or imagine. Therefore, it says that absence of experience. But if you really look into it, it is the fullness or the eternity or the what you call the infinity in which we are. But there is no way we can know infinity because there is no relative term to know that infinity in that nature. Now, in the infinity or in the Brihat or Brahma Avastha or Atma Avastha, where we are everything, we are all by ourselves. Our experience is not an experiencer, object experience, subject experience like that. It is both merged into one. The objectlessness makes the subject itself as the subject and object of experience. Such a state, when we are experiencing or when we are being in that, we cannot say we are experiencing anything or we are not experiencing anything. Therefore, words fail, the mind cannot comprehend. That is the situation. But the Upanishad wants us to know that in that state, there is this state of bliss. Don't call it as happiness, but it's a state of bliss. Now, the blissfulness is the nature where it is all by ourselves, because there is nothing which we need to share or we are limited by anything else. So that Ananda or bliss is what is the Upanishad wants us to understand. Because what happens for us is that all the happiness or enjoyment or anything which we have in our notion or imagination is where there is subject and object. I am the subject experiencing the happiness due to an object, whatever it may be. It can be either thoughts, emotions, feelings, or a real object outside, through the sense organs, through the mind, etc. So, the Acharya Shankara says here, Tatra Laukika Anandaha Bahya Adhyatmika Sadhana Sambatti Nimitta Utkrishta. Utkrishta means the variation, higher, that the high and low of happiness is nimitta, is caused by what? Sadhana Sambatti is due to a situation of achievement. Bahya Adhyatmika, that is external or internal. Bahya means external, Adhyatmika means internal or esoteric in nature. And that is why that Laukika Ananda can be seen, that the happiness is either felt inside or it can be caused by something outside. Saha ya esha nirdishyate brahmananda anugamartam. This variation from a human happiness to the happiness of Hiranyagarbha is being compared by the 100 times of each one of them. I'm not going to repeat the whole thing again here. That is for the purpose of Brahmananda Anugamartham, for understanding what can be that of bliss, of the fullness of bliss or blissful state when there is nothing other than one. That Brahma means Brihatvad Brahma. Everything is included in Brahma. And when we become Brahma, or when we know that is our nature, we become one with the Brahman, or we know everything is happening in my awareness or in our knowledge or in our consciousness. And that state is the state of otherlessness. And therefore, we are now given this comparison for us to come to a state of the bliss without having something else to trigger that. Anena hi prasiddhena anandena vyavritta vishaya buddhi gamya ananda anugamandum shakyate. Only because of that, we are well known, what is well known to us as Ananda is Vishaya Buddhi Gamya, is object triggered. Therefore, what is a happiness or a bliss which is not triggered by an object, but we ourselves are the nature of Ananda or nature of bliss which we sing. Laukika api Anandaha Brahmanandasya eva matra. So, whether it is a Manushya Ananda or the happiness of a human being, which is described as Ashishto, Dradishto, Balishtaha, Prithvi Vittasya Purnasya, all those things, that he is young, handsome, with life not diminishing by sickness or aging, and he is Balishtaha, he is powerful, and he has also a Shrotriya and Akamahata, one who has killed all his desires. At the same time, every wealth in this world, Prithvi Vittasya Purnasyad, the entire wealth of the world is at his beck and mercy. That is one measure of human happiness which can be thought about by imagination. Nobody is of that nature really available, but Upanishads want us to imagine such a person. And that is considered as a unit of measure of a human happiness, who is also Shrotriyasya cha Akamahatasya, one who has killed all the desire-driven temptations for happiness. So not only that he has all the benefits available with him as youth, strength, no disease, all the wealth, and he is the one who is controlling the entire earth. At the same time, he is fully aware of the Shastra, the Vidhi and Nyaya, and what should be done, what should not be done. So he doesn't create Punya and Papa. He only does the Punya or the good deeds for getting the benefit of the good deeds. And he is Akamahata. He has burnt his, or he has killed his temptations of, temptations driven activity. So such a person, even though all these things are available at his beck and call, he is not tempted by them. And such a person's happiness, because he is in happiness in himself, in spite of all being there, is considered as the unit measure of human thing. Then goes the 100 times of that from Manushya Gandharva, Deva Gandharva, Idridam, Loka Lokanam, Ayu, this, all those things, Ajana Jana, Devana, up to Indra, Brihaspati, and Brahmana and Hiranyagarbha. All of them are 100 times the other, 100 times the other. So, in spite of all of them, what it says that Brahmanandasya matra eva, whether it is Hiranyagarbha or the human being, what happiness there they are enjoying is a infinitesimal nature of Brahma Ananda, Ananda of the blissful nature of oneself. Why? Because all of them have got the identification of I am there, the world is separate. Even for Hiranyagarbha, who creates the entire world, Triloka, all the three worlds, he creates the three worlds and he knows the world is different from him as a creator. Therefore, even his happiness is not that of Brahmananda, because he is considering the world he created as separate from him. Therefore, he is not inclusive of that in it. But one who is Shrotriyas, Akamahata, one who has burned his desires thing, and he has studied the Shastra as well, he knows that his Swarupa, that is the Brahmavid. No, Brahmavid apnoti param, the beginning statement of this section. He has attained the supreme. That supreme, where there is nothing other than him, or there is nothing other than to call anything other than himself, or he becomes everything. To such a person, the happiness is not limited or infinitesimal in nature because he has nobody else to share the happiness. No need of bifurcating that and sharing with anyone. He is all. He is in all. In that state of oneness, he becomes all. And that all is the fullness of bliss or blissful nature of his nature, true nature. He doesn't identify himself as separate from the bliss, what he is enjoying, or he knows his nature is Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, Anandam. All of them are his nature. So therefore, he avidya tiraskriyamane vijnane utkarsyamanayam cha avidyayam brahmadibihi karma vasad yada vijnanam vishayadi sadhana sambandha vashat cha vibhavyamanah cha loka anavastitaha laukikaha sambandhyate. So whether it is the Brihaspati or Brahma, all those vijnana what they are having is karma vashat. Because what karma has they have done is the reason what they have got that life of Indra, Brihaspati or, Hiranyagarbha, whatever it is. So only the vibhavyamanascha sampatti. This is what the laukikas are achieving. Sa eva avidya kama karma apakarshena manushya gandharva uttara bhumishu akamahata with shrotriya apekshaya vibhavye sataguna uttara utkarshena yad yavat hiranyagarbhasya brahmana ananda iti. So all those up to the Hiranyagarbha Ananda is all due to avidya kama karma. The avidya is the root cause for everything. What is the avidya? Samshaya viparya. Ajnana samshaya viparya is the avidya. If we are not able to eradicate these three things, the ignorance or the non-apprehension of the nature of ourselves, and doubt, even when the Shruti or Upanishad is saying that Tattvamasi, you are that, or Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma, when it is being told that I am Brahma, that Aham Brahmasmi knowledge is not coming, still you doubt it. That is the second avidya. And the third one is that when you think that the Ishvara is separate, I am the Dasa to Ishvara, or that separation, Idara Mandaram Gurute. The differentiation is being nurtured. This is due to the Viparya. So any one of them, if it is there in our notion or understanding, we will be in the clutches of avidya, and that avidya will prompt us to do kama. Because something is separate from me, therefore I can have a desire for that. Even if I think the Hiranyagarbha is different from me, I can have a desire to become a Hiranyagarbha. So these type of kama is the one which prompts us to do karma. Here karma means the Vedic karmas which we are prompted to do, is that Ashwamedha Yaga or Agnihotra Adi karma, so that I get a punya, and with the punya I will get a punya loka. And so many punya lokas, if I do that, then I can become the deva. Then so many devas life, if I live, then I can become all those things which I was mentioned earlier. Indra, Brihaspati, Brahma and Hiranyagarbha. All those things are achievable due to karma. And tena apakarshena, only when that is being eradicated by our Shravana Manana Nididhyasana on the Upanishad Vakya, we can get Uttara Bhumishu, due to akamahata with shrotriyat apeksha. One who has burnt his desires to even become the Hiranyagarbha, and that too with the knowledge of the Upanishad, which is helping him to do the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. Vibhavyate means sambadhyate, or he achieves Sataguna Uttara Utkarshena. If he is still thinking about with the even an iota of separation, if he is thinking in his mind, he will be driven to become a Hiranyagarbha. Therefore, Brahmana Ananda iti. He will achieve Brahmana Ananda, but he will not get the Brahmananda, because Brahmananda is not what is the Hiranyagarbha Ananda. So having said that, Niraste tu avidyakrite vishaya vishayi vibhage vidyaya swabhavikaha paripurnaha ekaha anandaha advaita pavadi ityedam artha. Vidya niraste, with the knowledge, by the scriptural knowledge which we are listening to from the beginning of Kathopanishad onwards, we have listened to all the Upanishads. What is left out is only Brihadaranya. But with all that, when we remove that, what? Avidya krite vishaya vishayi vibhage. The vishaya vishayi vibhaga, that I am the subject, everything else is the object. That separation, vibhaga, vishaya vishayi vibhaga means subject-object separation, caused by avidya krite, due to the ignorance of not knowing that we are Brahma Swarupa. There is something separate from me. I am the subject and the object is separate from me. This idea, as long as we nurture it, we will be under the clutches of avidya kama karma, and we will be driven by the desires and the actions to achieve higher happiness, even if it is the happiness of meditation, the what you call the bliss of meditation. There also there is this vishaya vishayi. I am the meditator. The happiness of meditation is being enjoyed by me. That even to that extent, vishaya vishayi vibhaga is taking place. So what Upanishad want us to understand here is that this type of vishaya vishayi vibhaga, subject-object bifurcation, is due to avidya, is due to the ignorance which we are being driven to. That vidya niraste, when it is being eradicated by the knowledge that we are that from which everything has come out. So we cannot be different from what has come out along with us. Now, how do we know that? We were all alone by ourselves in our deep sleep. There is no individuality, no subject, no object, nothing but beingness. Whether that beingness is knowingness or bliss, let us not debate on that aspect. Because the knowingness, beingness and blissfulness, all these things are words which are in the dictionary of the waker. But in the dictionary of the deep sleeper, these words also have no meaning at all. Because there is no way you can segregate or separate beingness from consciousness from bliss. We were in that state. From that state, when we wake up, becoming the waker, everything is coming out of that state from where we are waking up. As a waker, as enjoyer of the waking world, or as the dreamer, or enjoyer of the dreaming world. Whichever world we go into, both must have come from the origin where there were nothing. From that, when the projection took place as the waker, the waking world also was projected. So how can we say that what has come out from the same source, I am separate and the world is separate? It is due to the avidya or the ignorance. Because we do not know this fundamental nature that it is from that the waker and the waking world has come out. We think the waking world is there into which the waker has come. That is how we are normally thinking. But if you really meditate or do the nididhyasana on our experience of waking or dream, I'm not separating between waking and dream. Both are being identical in nature. Only thing is that nature in which we separate it out are the two different ones. But as far as the phenomenon is concerned, both of them are identical. So from that tattvam or from that nature or the substratum from where existence, bliss or consciousness cannot be separated and segregated, we have now become the subject and the world has become the object. And this nature of consciousness, existence and bliss is present in all the objects and the subject. That is why we are having this notion of subject-object. Yet we differentiate them saying that I am separate, the world is separate. Even though we know that everything has come out from that state when I did not have separation, the separation is now being experienced. And in that experience also, I am experiencing existence. I am also experiencing the awareness or consciousness. I am also aware and enjoying the happiness or the nature of bliss of objects. Because the mind has now brought its kama or a desire, something becomes desirable, something becomes undesirable. Due to that, there is a gradation of happiness for the subject and object. That is happening due to the desire which is there in the mind. Therefore, one who has burnt the desire or unified the desire or negated the differentiation, he feels he doesn't have the separation and therefore he has no higher or lower happiness even in the waking state. He sees himself in everything and everything in himself. He sees that in his nature, that nature from which he has become the waker is seen by the same waker as the world has also come out of the same substratum. Therefore, he doesn't differentiate, and because he doesn't differentiate, there is no desire separate from him to have or not to have. So that unification of the desire, where he unified himself with the world outside, there is no way in which he can have a gradation of happiness. That is the one which is now said that akamahata, one who has burnt the desires or one who has unified the desires or one who has nullified the desires. And with what? Srotriyasya. He has done that with the using of the Shrotra or Shastra, where the Upanishadic dictations or words of the Upanishad, after having heard them, Shravanam, he has meditated upon them and made it as his own conviction that if gold has become the ornaments, every ornament is nothing but the same gold. Every pot, every object made of mud has come from the same mud. Or every thing which we call it as water, as whether it is ocean, waves, or froth, or cloud, or snow, or river, or anything but is nothing but water. Same way, everything is from the same source, has to be made of the same thing. One who has realized this, vidyaya niraste, one who has now negated the avidya due to vidya, for him, swabhavikaha means becomes his nature, his happiness, his existence, his consciousness, his awareness, whatever you call it by whatever name, is natural to him. There is nothing which he has to acquire or aggrandize. It is his nature. What I am, I don't have to acquire it. What I am, I don't have to desire for it. What I am, I don't have to know it because I am myself. I don't have to know myself. So that is the state of swabhavika. Paripurnaha. Pari means all around or complete. Purnaha means again filled. He becomes everything. He fills everything. He doesn't see himself separate from anything. He is the one which is filling everything. The separatedness which is there physically and everything is there, but he doesn't see the separation because he sees himself in everything. Yomam pasyati sarvatra sarvam cha mayi pasyati. That statement of Krishna becomes a reality to one who is Shrotriyasya Akamahatasya. Ekaha, that is the Advaita one, where there is nothing second. Ekaha Advaita, Asya Anandaha. That is the bliss which is being referred to here. Bhavati ityetam artham. Vibhavayishyan aha yuva pratamavayaha sadhu yuveti sadhuscha asau yuva chedi yunoho visheshanam. Yuva api sadhur bhavati sadhurapi yuva ataha visheshanam yuva syad sadhu yuveti adhyayakaha adita vedaha ashishtaha ashasmritaha dridishtaha dridhatamaha balishtaha balattamaha evam adhyatmika sadhana sampannaha. Now, Shankaracharya is describing the Manushya Ananda. All those things which I have been told earlier. Yuva, youth. Sadhu, well-mannered. Adhyayakaha, Atita Vedaha. He has studied all the Vedas. Ashishta means Asha Smritaha Tamaha. So he is full of what you call vitality. Balishtaha, with strength. Dridhatamaha. Dridishtaha. Balishtaha means Balattamaha. He has all the strength. Adhyatmika sadhana sampannaha. He has the fullness of esoteric knowledge in himself. Tasya iyam prithivi urvi sarva vittasya vitta ena upabhoga sadhanena. Drishtartha anadrishtarthena cha kama sadhana sampanna purna raja prithivi iti arthaha. Prithivipatihi ityartha. He is the ruler of the world, who is in total control of all the vitta, all the wealth of this world. And drishtartena anudrishtartena cha kama sadhanena sampanna. Whatever is visible or invisible, karma sadhanena, whatever is achievable and not achievable. Sampanna purnaha, mean he is well, coveted with all those things. Tasya cha ya anandaha sa eka manushya pragishta anandaha. That is the happiness of one person, one human life. Te ye shatam manushya anandaha sa ekaha manushya gandharvanam anandaha. Manushya anandat sadaguna utkrishta manushya gandharvanam ananda bhavati. Manushyaha santaha karma vidya visheshat gandharvatvam prapta manushya gandharva. Karma vidya vashat. So manushya gandharva, the next level is achieved from karma vidya visheshat, karma and upasana. And he becomes santaha. He becomes a sadhu. And therefore gandharvatvam prapta manushya gandharva. Tehi andar dhana adi shakti sampannaha. Sushma karya karanaha. So he has achieved the siddhis of, instant materializing and, vanishing, etc. Tasmat prati data plavatvam tesham dvanda pradidhana shakti sadhana sambattischa. Now I am not going to read on all those, details of each of these Manushya Gandharva, Deva Gandharva, all of them. I'll go to the place after the Hiranyagarbha thing is being explained. Tasmat etani trini sadhanani iti avagamyate. What are the three sadhanas which are mandatory for whether it is a Manushya or the Hiranyagarbha, up to Hiranyagarbha, the entire spectrum of beings, which is from the humanity to the Hiranyagarbha. What is that Trini Sadhanani? Or the three things which is mandatory for them? Shrotriya, they have to be well versed in the scriptures. Avrajanaha, they should have no papa, no sin committed by them. Avrajinaha, this word Avrajinaha comes in the Taittareeya Upanishad. Why Avrajinaha? Because avidya kama karma is the reason even for Hiranyagarbha. So when you have a kama, the tendency, the desire is there is a chance that your desire can be wrongly placed, with which you may obtain papa or a sin. So it is not only you should know the Shastra well, you should also know how to execute the terms of Shastra so that you do not accumulate any sin as your karma phala. Therefore, such a person is called avrajinaha. And akamahata, all sorts of desires, even to attain the, what you call the Hiranyagarbha state, is part of the kama. So akamahata, one who can burn this. So the Hiranyagarbha has the highest status. All he had was only one desire. I want to be Hiranyagarbha. I don't want anything else. But that was there for the reason that he was separate from Brahma. Therefore, he became the first creation, Pradamaja. And he created everything else. So, he is not 100% akamahata, even though he has achieved to that extent. So, Shrotriya
avrajinaha, akamahata. Tasmad edani trini sadhanani is these three are must. Tatra shrotriyatya avrajinatve niyate akamahatatvam tu utkrishyata iti prakrishta sadhanata avagamyate. Tatra in this gradation of from human being to the Hiranyagarbha, Shrotriya avirajinatve, being a Shastra and without any sins, niyate, akamahatatvam tu utkrishya. This akamahatatvam is the superior most, the desirelessness, absolute state of desirelessness. Because even the Hiranyagarbha had a desire to become Hiranyagarbha, that is why he became a Hiranyagarbha. But one who has Shastra knowledge and has not accumulated any sin is not enough of, but he has to be 100% akamahata. Then that is the prakrishta sadhanata avagamyate, is what is to be understood. So even if an iota of desire there in our mind, which is why we are suffering in this world. All the suffering is because we think there is something other than me. Idaram andaram gurude atatasya bhayam bhavati. Same way, when I am thinking there is something separate from me, there is that avidya, kama, karma. Therefore, I am not free from kama. Because the otherness can create the kama from me. Only if you see that sarvam khalu idam brahma in your knowledge, or aham brahmasmi, that I am everything. When the Shastra says tattvamasi, the Upanishad says tat satyam tattvamadi shvetaketo, when that is being told, we are not able to understand that satyam, what is standing for satyam jnanam anandam, or satya jnanam anandam brahma anandam, all that is that what is satyam, what is referred. Tad tvamasi shvetaketo. When that is being mentioned as that is what you are, we are not able to dissolve the separation feeling we have in ourselves. That separation feeling can create kama. And to have akamahata, to the nature of burned desires or nullified desires, can happen only when the otherness goes. Otherwise, the kama cannot be 100%. Because that is why the two words are interconnected. Yataram antaram kurute, ata kamam bhavati, ata bhayam bhavati. Everything happens when there is a second one. All happening of the phenomena of the world is because we have the otherness. So our experiences of the waker and the dreamer and the waking world and the dream world is because we are thinking that waking world is different from the waker, the dream world is different from the dreamer. The one who has understood there is no separation, for him, ekatvam anubhasyataha, he sees the oneness in everything. Yatra na anyat pasyati anyat shrunoti anyat vijanati. He doesn't see anything other than himself. He doesn't know anything other than himself. He doesn't hear anything other than himself. He has nothing other than himself. That is the state of akamahata, avrajinataha, and shrotriya. Only then you have understood the Shastra, understood the Upanishad, understood the meaning of the Upanishad, or understood how the meaning makes it free us from all the limitation and because freedom and abhayam, fearlessness, happiness, all those things are possible only when the otherness is gone. Therefore, tasya akamahatatva prakarshatva upalambyamana shrotriyasya apeksha brahmana anandaha yasya paramanandasya matra ekadeshaha. Even the Brahma's happiness or the Hiranyagarbha's happiness is only ekadesha, is only partial. Compared to akamahatatva, one who has nullified desire, one who has burned the desires, one who has burned the otherness, one who does not see the otherness. The same thing is mentioned in the Brihadaranya Upanishad, 4th chapter, 3rd section, 32 verse. Etasya anandasya anyani bhutani matram upajivanti. All the other things are living by a speck of the happiness of Brahman, because everything is Brahman. But because of the otherness which is being created, anyani jivani, you create the anyatvam or the separation, that otherness. The otherness reduces the ananda of oneself into a speck. So the happiness which I am enjoying when I am a subject, with every object in the world, let it be the highest of the highest happiness of the world. If it is as an object, I am only enjoying a speck of the happiness of my own nature, which otherwise is always with me. Because the otherness is there, now my happiness is forgotten and I am looking at the happiness as the otherness which is giving me happiness. Therefore, it is only matra, it's a speck only. Idi Shrutyantara. Sa esha anandaha yasya matra samudrambasah iva viprushaha pravibhaktaha yatra ekatam gataha sa esha paramanandaha swabhavikaha advaitat ananda anandinohoscha avibhago atra. Were this ananda anandino, the happiness and the one who is enjoying the happiness, ananda anandina, when the avibhaga, when there is no separation, then only advaita will become a reality. And there, when you are the non-dual self, that Brahmanand, then you are swabhavika, that is your nature. Where there is no otherness, that is the absolute bliss. Sa yesha paramanandaha. That is the paramananda which is saying, which is said, Brahmavid apnoti param. That beginning statement of this section is that paramananda which is being saying, Brahmavid apnoti param. And that can happen only when ananda anandi avivaka, when there is no separation between the happiness and the enjoyer. There is no separation. How can there be a separation? Only if there is a subject-object division. Anyatvam. Idaram andaram kurute. If there is that type of a separation comes, then that you are getting the Paramananda. You are getting only Matra Ananda. You are Ekadeshi Ananda, or one speck of the happiness. So, if we are looking for real happiness or bliss, we have to eliminate all otherness. There is no thing which is separate from me. Everything is me. Aham eva sarvatma bhava. Aham eva sarvam. I am everything. Because in that aham, when I am that alone in my deep sleep, everything was in me. Everything is in me as me. became the waker and the waking world, the dreamer and the dream world. It is projected out of that state of me. I am the one, the world, the waker, I am the world. So therefore, when I am saying Advaita, Eka, that is the state where I don't see anything separate from me. So, however much it is described, however much I reiterate the words of the Upanishad, unless it becomes one's own conviction that the one which I was in my deep sleep is the one which is there as the waker and the waking world, the dreamer and the dream world. Everything is nothing but me. And I am the one who is the projector and the projected, the world and the enjoyer of the world. When that Advaita, when that non-duality happens in our understanding, in our conviction, that is the nature of Paramananda bliss, because there is nobody you can share that Ananda with, because you are all alone by yourself. You are the one, you are the full, Paripurnaha. You are complete in all respect. Om. Om. So we stop here. We'll continue this in the next section and Friday's thing. Okay. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawada.
Thank you, Bindaji. Thank you very, very much for the class. We're going to open the hand raising and chat. If people want to come up to ask questions and get clarity from Bindaji on the class today, please raise your hand. We have about a little less than a half hour for that. While we're waiting for anyone to do that, let's see if, hand raising is open. Prakash, did you want to bring anything forward? And then Prasad, if you wanted to speak at all.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. Again, a very profound class that has a lot of deep manana required. So this, from Samshaya to Nishchaya, in terms of this, the completeness of the bliss state, is there a non-verbal state to which this can be attributed also, Binduji?
What exactly you mean by that question?
No, a lot of times we are in deep silence.
Yes.
So I always wonder if, a kind of a non-verbal state where there is an experience of no separation is also hinting to the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is exactly stated that only. Even in our experiences, the experiences we are giving the separation otherness. But the otherness, when we understand that the state of otherness is a projection from our own ignorance or, created by our own imagination. When that happens, the phenomena of the world appears to be real and separate from us. But when we really analyze our experiences and know that all the experience of the world has come out from my own experience, I am not separate from the experiences. My life, we call it as not the physical body. That is why this Panchakosha Viveka will come helpful for us to analyze that. When we know that every stage, everywhere, it is the same thing which is becoming in different manner. It is the same Atma which is the Annamaya, same Atma which is the Pranamaya, same Atma which is the Manomaya, Atma Vijnanamaya, same Atma the Anandamaya. When we know that it is the same Atma, Atma means me. I am the Atma. I am the one which is now the physical body. I am the one which is my breathing, myself and everything. I am the one which is my thoughts and feelings and emotions. I am the one which is doing my intellectual thing. I am the one which is the experiencer of the Ananda. All those things I am myself. Without me, none of them exist. I exist in me. I am the one which is there and everything is in me. But that in me feeling is not become a reality because the otherness is there in our mind. Even our physical body is the other body. But when you know that there is no otherness, the physical body, it doesn't become that thing. No, but I don't stop at my physical body. I have to extend beyond my physical body to the air, to the space, to the objects. All of them are me only. From my experience, from my awareness only, they have come out. So when we go into that type of a state, we do not talk about it. We become absolutely silent, non-verbal, because words cannot bring out that experience into, definitions or experiences. It becomes totally non-verbal and non-mental. Not even imagination. It is not an imagination. It is a fact. It is a being. I can't call it even as an experience. The moment where I say the experience, that the dichotomy will come. It is not even an experience. It is a being. In the being, there is no double or two-ness, otherness. That is what it is being referred to here in this process. The concluding, the ninth Anuvaka will make it much more clearer for us, this aspect of it. But the Upanishad has already told what it need to be told, and it is for us to, push the pole backward and cut across and be in our destination.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. That aspect of this knowing, but also the wisdom behind knowing is such a vital part of this. So thank you, Binduji. Over to Venkatji is up. Namaste, Venkatji.
Well, unless Prasad wanted to speak, you came up on the panel.
Yes.
I wondered if you wanted to talk.
Yes.
No. Yes. I mean, nothing to question Binduji, but yes, I'm sure Binduji also today would find himself in his elements today with such passages, right? Such profound passages. And today, beautifully, Shankaracharya actually mentioned what are the signs of a guru, a vrijna, akamahata, shrotriya, brahmanishta is also generally added. So these are, great points that are there in the texts for somebody who just vaguely interprets Advaita Vedanta and comes to a vague understanding and then argumentation, etc., etc. So in here, that one portion establishes from whom you have to learn it. And what is the nature of the seeker? Akamahata, Shrotriya, Akamahata. Akamahata is like a great word. I'm sure Binduji will have a lot to say about it. That it's simply like you can't float if there is a rock on your chest. You just can't float. Kama is that. So freedom from that, freedom from desire is like the stone off your chest and you just float in water. You're Brahman immediately. So these are some beautiful verses that were covered, and I really loved the session. That's all.
Thank you. That
Thank you,
was
Prasad.
beautiful. Yeah. Namaste, Venkat.
Hari Om, Binduji.
Hari Om,
I think thanks to. I think the revision was helping. I have few questions, Binduji.
Go ahead.
That nirastet avidya krute vishaya vibhage. The once that separation is removed, that ignorance is gone. Then it is a vidyaya svabhavika paripurna. I think that anando advaito bhavati. I think the one there is no separatedness. The oneness, Advaita, is a result of it. Now, in such Gnani, this separation or a split, I thought I'll just apply this Triputi. The Triputi is a three-way separation for perception, right? It happens in the that's the how to perceive, how to communicate, all that are a three-way split. That split is also required for a Gnani to communicate, except that there is no reality given to this phenomenon. How do you see this split required for communication, perception, etc.? How do you see this, Binduji?
It is similar to a person who knows a mirage is not a water. He is explaining to somebody. How does he explain it? He knows that he also sees the wateriness in the mirage. But he knows it is not water, it's a mirage. So knowing the mirage as not water, yet his visual sensory object is giving the wateriness. He knows the reality of the mirage. He tells the other person who is thinking that there is water, that it is not water. It is a mirage which you are seeing, thinking as water. That is the same way in which a jnani will interact with the students when they approach a jnani to understand it. He is seeing them as separate, but he knows they are not separate. He interacts with them as separate, but they knows very well they are not separate. He talks to them separately, but knows that he is not talking to somebody separate, but himself. That oneness is not the way in which we see ourselves. That oneness is by being one. He doesn't have the separateness which normally the transactional world we see the separation. He'll see the separation at the same time. He is also not acknowledging the separation, but a separation as created by the ignorance, or if non-understanding is the reason why the separation was being felt earlier. Now knowing the truth, the separation is not a reality, but it's only an appearance. It is not a fact anymore. That is the way in which the jnani will interact.
Thank you, Binduji. I think that gives a lot of clarity. I was trying to, because now I cannot stop from relating this to Ishavasya Upanishad, that first shloka, Tena Tektena Bunjitaha, and that Shrotriyasya Chaka Mahatasya Akamatasya, right? That the Shrotriya who understood this Isha referred in Ishavasya as Tena Tektena Bunjitaha. That Bunjita is the Ananda by renunciation. it is exactly referring the same, both are referring the same thing.
Yes. See, Upanishads are taken different routes to explain the same tattva. So, to understand all of them is to know that there is only one reality. It is being, spoon-fed to us by different Upanishads in different manner. But the ultimate is for us to remove our own ignorance. Which one suits us, we should accept that. If you think Kathopanishad has done the best job for you or Kenopanishad has done the best job for you, doesn't matter. But that should remove our avidya. Avidya is Ajnana Samshaya Nivriya. The three has to be out of our dictionary and experiences. Then only we can say that the Upanishad, this one or Ishavasya or Kenopanishad, they all talk in different languages, but the fact is the same.
This Isha and Brahman are the same. There is no difference at all going by this.
No difference.
Okay, I think that's clear, Binduji. This avorigin, that Shotri, the verse you finally covered, right? The verse covered the Shotriyatva, avoriginatva, and akamahatatva. That this avoriginatva is an insult. See, one akamahata means by renunciating, even the surrendering, that whoever is even having desire. Then avorigina, what is the purpose of inserting this, one who is not having any sins? Is that to do with Chitta Shuddhi? What is the indicator that why
That
it is required?
indicator of avarajina is that avarajina, if you are 100% avarajina, then you don't have birth. Even Hiranyagarbha birth is that he is not 100% avarajina. Even Brihaspati, who is the guru to all the devas, he becomes a Brihaspati due to otherness in him, which makes him eligible for that particular life. So, avarajina and Shrotriya are not enough, because even these people are avarajina to the extent that they are not the ordinary papa what they are talking about. Even the birth of as a Brahma or Prajapati or Hiranyagarbha is due to some vrajana, cannot complete avrajana. That is why the third say that Utkrishta of all the three is akamahata. You are not even Srotriya is enough, so avrajana is not enough, but you have to be 100% akamahata. As Prasad said, akamahata is a very, very, very deep word where one need to really look into ourselves. The word is not anything external. The esoterical akamahata is what he is referring to here. That is because the, non-desired state, absolute purity in that can happen only when there is absolutely no otherness. And that is the state of our true nature. But we do not know that is the akamahata state. Because the moment waking and dream comes, there is kama there, because we see the separateness. So how do we know that in the waking, akamahata can be a practical, aspect which can be practical? That can only become practical when we know that the waker and the waking world has the same origin. And when we know that the same origin from waker and the waking world has come, that dissolves the separation between the waker and the waking world, makes the waker not be desirable of anything of the waking world. But if he sees that waking world as separate from himself, he cannot be a akamahata, the one who has burned the desires. That is why when that word is being said, you have to become blank and a state where there is nothing other than yourself. Don't call it as deep sleep, because we have imagination and mental ideation. What is deep sleep? I'm not even talking about deep sleep. A state where there is no I. The idea of individuality cannot exist, and that akamada state. Because the moment individuality is retained, the otherness is a byproduct. If I am there, other is there. So the akamada is the state where even the ego is zero, zilch. That state is what is superior to Avrajana and Shrotriya also. It is possible. It is the reality. It is our true nature. But when we do not know, the I will be there and the world outside will be there. And then there will be karma and all the related samsara will happen. Therefore, the akamahata is superior to all of them.
I think that clears, Vinodji. That Kshotriya also is a listener present. Avrajana had the one sinner present. Here, there's no attribution. It's a negation, actually. It is well placed. Thank you, Vinodji.
Thank you, Venkat.
Yeah, thank you very much, Venkat. And we have maybe time for one more question or so, if anyone has that. Otherwise, we're very close to our normal closing. So,
Shrotriya Venkatji is the one well versed in Vedas or Vedanta, not listener. I just bring that. I thought you said listener.
Kshotriya, the way
Shastravit.
yeah,
Shrotriya
Shastravit.
means one who is well versed in Shastra. He is called Shrotriya. Because when these Upanishads were there, the Shastras were only by word of mouth. So, Shabdajnanam. Shabdam is the result of Shabdam, what you hear from the Upanishad. So, Shrotriya becomes one who becomes a listener, is not a physical listener alone, because he has not only listened to it, but he has become what he has listened. Such a person is a Shrotriya. Okay, we can close.
all right. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. The replays are here, and they're also on Advaita Retold. And our next class will be Friday at 8:30 p.m. IST. Does anyone on the panel have any last words before Binduji closes us out? Not?
Just a
Prakash?
heartfelt thank you. Just a heartfelt thank you to Bindoji again for a very deep session on this Brahmananda Valli, and for everyone to have come in the audience, and for those who came up and asked questions, making this a very lively satsang. Thank you.
Thank you, Binduji. Would you close out the room, please?
Yes. Thank you, Atmisha, Prakash, Prasad, Venkat, and all those who are in the listening. We'll continue our Brahmananda Valli for Friday also. And see you all on Friday. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night,
Very
Binduji.
well.
Good night.